Hello and welcome to GMAX Studios. In this video, we are going to talk about a simple in-camera checklist that, if ingrained in your workflow, not only will it save you from a lot of headache, but it will also smoothen out your photography workflow. So the first thing to do is set your priority modes and decide whether you are going to shoot in P, S, A or M, which is shutter, aperture, program or manual mode. We have talked about all of these in our previous episodes, and the links to these videos are given in the description below. Anyway, coming back to the priority modes, you will set your shutter priority if you are shooting some fast action or moving subjects. And if you are shooting portraits, you will obviously set it to aperture priority mode because you want to have more control over your depth of field. If the situation is changing too drastically or dramatically, you can use the P mode. And if the situation, the lighting situation is constant, you can also use the M or the manual mode. Next, you're going to decide which focal length are you going to shoot at, and therefore which lens are you going to use. So a lot of people use primes because they are easier to zoom in and zoom out and get your final composition. But if you are shooting primes, then you might struggle a bit. Also, some people use the zoom lens to get a basic approximation of the focal length that they're going to shoot at and then switch over to a prime. Next, set your picture quality, whether you're going to shoot on RAW or JPEG or both. Next, set your white balance. This is absolutely necessary if you are shooting JPEG only, because this is the final look that is going to get locked into your final JPEG file. So if you are shooting RAW, this might not seem so important because you can always do changes to the white balance in post-processing or correction later in Adobe Lightroom or Photoshop. But nevertheless, it is an extremely good habit to have the right white balance while shooting itself. Next, set your color profile, picture style or picture control, because once again, if you are shooting only on JPEG, these colors are going to be locked into your file. Next, select your drive mode, whether you're going to shoot in the single mode or the continuous mode. A lot of people shoot portraits in the continuous mode as well, but I personally prefer to shoot portraits and stationary subjects in the single mode. And needless to say, if you're shooting high-paced action or blink and miss kind of shots, you must set your camera to the continuous shooting mode. Next up is your focus mode, whether you're going to shoot in manual focus, autofocus single or autofocus continuous. Last but not the least, set your ISO. Setting the right ISO is extremely important because if you increase it too much, it introduces noise in the photograph. But you can use the ISO to get the right handheld shutter speed. By the right handheld shutter speed, I mean that for any focal length, your shutter speed must be 1/x, where x is your focal length. So for example, if you're shooting at 200 mm, then your basic minimum shutter speed for handheld shooting is at least 1/200th of a second. With new technology like VR, IS and OIS, you may or may not decide to implement this rule. But for me, it is still a good rule to follow. Anyway, coming back to ISO, use the ISO to set your shutter speed, but try and keep it as low as possible. So while these rules are not set in stone, but having them ingrained, memorized, or printed out somewhere just leaves your mind free to focus on the more creative aspects of shooting. You can download this graphic from our Google Plus page. Share this video with your friends and subscribe to this channel. Until the next video, bye-bye.